I'm gonna whip out a quick video here. Just finished, so I just did two 30-minute meditations today. What's coming up a lot in these lately is the ego doesn't believe people choose suffering. The ego doesn't believe that people want to be sad. So people try to help, right? But Carolyn Mace wrote a book called Why People Don't Heal and How They Can. There is social currency of being a victim these days, or a victimized group. I was asked the question, why did you start a different group for conservative men? Why did you start a different group for conservative men? And the reason that I did was because when I teach from the Renegade Yogi place, I say it's a valid choice between victimhood or empowerment. It's a valid choice. Choose whatever you want. The thing with these conservative men and Trump supporters that were showing up, so it was women too, but the conservative men were not that they were all the same, but they were very similar in the way that there is no choice between victimhood or empowerment. There's no choice. There's only empowerment. That's it. They don't even want to hear me talk about victimhood. They don't even want, so if they even start down a victimhood like story or path, whatever, I say that's a victim story. Oh, okay. They take it right out. They remove it right away. And it's gone. It's like energetically, it's removed completely. So conservative males that I see as clients are completely different group of people. There was a study done that it tested conservative and liberal people, and with like 90% certainty, conservative people were able to say what the liberals would do, and the liberals were not able with much at all to say what conservative people would do. So liberals were they have a very low opinion of conservatives. They think they're selfish. I talked to people randomly. People come up and people just talk to me for like no reason. Well, it's not no reason, but you could see that they think it's odd how much they're telling me. But it was liberal men saying conservative men think everything's fine. And I said, no, that's not what they think. They don't think everything's fine. They know there's things wrong. They just think, what can I do about it? Okay, so it really is, to me, it's a choice of victimhood or empowerment. And conservative males, the way they show up in my life and everything that I see, I know I have an ego, so my ego is going to say, yeah, you were right, see, you were right. But the conservative males seem to show up with their only choice on the table, the only thing is empowerment. They want nothing to do with victimhood at all. Victimhood repulses them. And conservative-minded people think equality of opportunity. That's why they're happier. And liberals think equality of outcome. All right, so if your goal is equality of opportunity, you're going to be a different person than if you think there should be equality of outcome. So I have a male liberal person in my family, and he thinks everyone should get paid the same amount. Even though, like, I was an airline pilot and there were flight attendants on my jets. So the flight attendants were taken off the streets and trained by the company, but the pilots, I had to live in my car for a little while. I never went on vacation. I worked 3 jobs at a time. I worked 7 days a week. When people say, I work every day. I worked 7 days a week. I had a day job, a night job, and then a weekend job for most of my life when I was younger. I worked 3 jobs. I went through relationships like water because as great as I was, guys got sick of taking a back seat to my work and my career. Okay, so, and I don't consider myself a conservative or a liberal. And I also consider myself both, because in some ways I'm liberal and in some ways I'm conservative. It doesn't really matter. We're all crossing. There may be people who are completely conservative or completely liberal, but for the most part, I think most people they're liberal about some things and conservative about other things. So when I went to healer training, I went to 21 days in the desert of Sedona for healer training. There was a woman there that ended up being an important person in my life, not because I liked her so much, but because I couldn't stand her. And there was only 5 of us in this 21-day course because it was $10,000. So we show up the first day, and we're all getting along. Everybody's getting to know each other. And very quickly, she shows up to me as she's so open-minded that she's closed-minded to closed-minded people. So I said, you're as equal. She was very hateful towards closed-minded people. Very hateful. Like they should all die and stuff like this. And I said, you're very closed-minded too. You're as closed-minded as they are. And I said, except they might be more honest about how, aware of how closed-minded they are. She's like, what are you even talking about? I said, you're closed-minded to closed-minded people, which doesn't make you open-minded. It makes you still closed-minded. So from that moment, I realized what big blind spots people have. The ego creates big blind spots. And I use the example all the time of hate has no home here. The subject of your sentence is hate. The only thing law of attraction can give you is hate. And, all right, so today is December 15th, 2019. It's a very special day for me. But I want to say that I talk about this all the time, and I'm not going into it, but there are people that make a lot of money off of the hatred and the division of humans, whether it's inside our country or our country versus other countries. Okay. And the people, and it's not just people, obviously there's corporations. There's this documentary called Corporations or something that showed up out of the blue. Well, I'm in YouTube. This video's there, and this thing showed up, and I started watching it. As I was watching it, I scrolled through some of the comments, and they were all like, "Did this just pop up for you, like out of the blue?" And it was made like 2 years ago. So I don't know if like 4chan, the Anons are like messing with the algorithms, or if someone at YouTube is like working from within to put stuff up that normally would get hidden. Because like USA oligarchy has been taken down so many times. And anyway, so I'm going to post that under this video. I'll try and do a link to it. It'll probably be removed, but 6 corporations own 90% of all media. And this other thing I started watching, I did a video yesterday, Osho Day 14, how not to judge people, or how to stop judging people. And one thing I said was about war, and I said, well, World War II, yeah, that was worth fighting, but there's other wars happening now that people are just not aware of, whatever, and we don't need to be doing that. And if everybody just worked on their own vibration. And I said a couple other things in there, and then as I went to put my videos up, as I went to put the video up to YouTube, I see this Noam Chomsky documentary, and I start watching it, and he says, like almost right away, he says like 3 of the things that I just said in my video. And I was saying it just off the top of my head as part of this stuff. Okay. And the examples I used about how to stop judging people was MAGA hats, and how I had an intuitive, loving friend who is programmed to see a red hat and think, racist hate symbol, racist hate symbol, racist hate symbol. And it's like, who's telling you that? You know, because why don't you listen to some of the black people or some of the Latinos that are wearing this, or some of the women? There was a girl, so since I'm doing this 21-day, Osho 21-day thing, and I'm making videos and I'm posting every day, I am on screens more than I've ever been. I'm getting better at technology, which is a great side effect, but I'm coming into a larger awareness of a bunch of things, too many to really even count. But these beatings, like the 13 or 14-year-old kid that got beaten for wearing a MAGA hat, and then yesterday's situation was this girl had a women, she's like 14, 15, 16 maybe. I tell such good stories. Anyway, she's got this pin that says, "Women for Trump." And a male teacher ripped this pin off of her. This is assault. You can't just rip things off of people. You know, we've seen people with hats, wearing MAGA hats, getting beer thrown in their face, getting their hats ripped off and set on fire and all this crap. People are ripping these Trump, anything to do with Trump. They're ripping. So this kid in school, the teacher went berserk, ripped this pin, "Women for Trump," ripped it off of her, had to like push her shoulder back to rip the pin off. And then he put it on himself upside down. Okay. I'm going to say it again. 90% of all media is owned by 6 corporations. 90% of all media. Okay? And Malcolm X said the media has the power to make an innocent man guilty and a guilty man innocent. Look at Tom Hanks. That's a perfect example. Tom Hanks playing Mr. Rogers is a smack in the face to all the people who know about and believe Sarah Ruth Ashcraft. Like, the Me Too movement skipped over all the people who say they were victimized as children, which is fine. That's what's happening now. But then people are like, well, why are the pedophiles getting covered up? How come only the Harvey Weinstein? I'm not weighing in on this Me Too movement. I'm just saying. I'm just noticing that the people who are victimized as children, their stories are not in there. And the 12/21/17, the executive order against human rights violations, and all these the kids that have been saved and the people who've gone down for, like, I don't see a big to-do about these pedophile rings getting broken up. And you got to kind of wonder at some point, who cares? Who cares what Trump tweeted? Like, look at these people getting what they're getting arrested for and where they were and how many sexual predators and all this. So the news is a very funny thing, what they choose to focus on. And that's what this Noam Chomsky documentary was all about. And it was insane to me that I just finished this video and I said all this stuff off the top of my head, and all of a sudden this Noam Chomsky thing shows up. I hit the button and he's saying all this stuff it's already been in my mind. So he's not putting it there. He's saying this stuff that's been in my mind. Okay. Now, I just want to wrap. This is what I really want to say is the people who make money off of the hatred and division and turning people against each other, including taking a loving and intuitive person and programming her with what a hat means. And the other example I use is a short skirt in an Islamic country or not being covered means you get beaten, means you get raped. That's what it means. And so you don't wear a short skirt and you don't go out uncovered or you'll get beaten. It's like, that's it. So these women over in these countries taking their hijabs off, taking off their headscarves and putting them on flags, it's so iconic. It's so amazing. And it's like, that's happening during my lifetime. That woman standing there with her hijab on a stick, waving it, knowing she could get killed, beaten gently to death, and thrown in prison and all this stuff. And these women on Twitter, amazing stuff happening. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I know people are like in our country, in the United States, like they're following our news. But if you tune into news from somewhere else, looking back at the United States, you get a different picture. It's very interesting. So a narrative started a long time ago, and the documentary USA Oligarchy, if you can ever get it, I think it's really well done. They tell you what started each war and what was behind the starting of each war. Just gonna leave it there. Anyway, so in the way old days when everyone had to work together in order to eat and to live, there were always conservative-minded people and always liberal-minded people. There always was. And they were able to work together. Okay. And if whoever or whatever said, if we divide these people apart, then we could turn them against each other. And it goes back to the meme of the king standing on the, in his castle, and he's scared of all the pitchfork people and there's people with pitchforks and people with torches. And his assistant, this woman, says, "Oh, sire, you don't have to fight them all. You just have to you just have to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take their pitchforks away." And it's like, yes, there it is. So the division was great. And the YouTubers who were in the middle of the road, they're like, "Hey guys, we're getting scooped out. We're the middle voices. We're the, what they call themselves, liberal centrists. We're getting scooped out. We're getting scooped out of YouTube. We don't know why." And then someone's like, "I know why." They're pushing the sides farther apart. So they're scooping out the center people who were trying to bring both sides together. Or, making rational arguments for each side. I don't know. In the interest of creating a continuity and creating peace, that's what these people were doing. They got scooped out. And they were telling as many people as they could, but of course their voices were shut down. And then they started scooping another place. So they're trying to make it look like we're living, I never saw Game of Thrones, but I imagine that there's fighting, right? And so it's like they're trying to make that a reality. All right. They make a lot of money off fighting, whether it's wars, big wars with tanks, guns, weapons, or it's little wars in your minds. You're making money for the same people. Just big wars with big weapons obviously make more money, but little wars with little minds still make some money. Okay, and they'll take it. All right, so if they went to the conservative-minded people before all this started, if they tried to do this with the conservatives, they'd say, "Oh, the liberals are, they're so bad." The conservatives would have said, because this is a conservative-minded thing, the conservatives would have been like, "It's a free country, leave them alone, they're fine, they're not bothering me. I'm not going to waste my time with that, I'm not going to get involved with that, let the liberals do whatever they want to do, they're not hurting me, it's a free country." This guy who, someone I follow on Twitter, Hotep Jesus, said something about conservatives wanting to give reparations to Jews is okay, but conservatives not wanting to give reparations to black people equals racist. And this woman said, conservatives don't want to give reparations to anybody. I was like, that's exactly my, conservatives want to say, okay, we're here now. Let's all, buckle down. I'm not making fun of that. Just get over it. And they're conservative with their energy. It's like, let's use our energy, let's use our resources to the best of our ability. So conservatives naturally, empowering themselves, they take care of themselves, they take care of their family, and then out from there, whatever they can do. Liberals think that conservatives just stop with themselves and they're selfish. Okay, but that's because conservatives, their minds operate from a very rational place. That's why they're able to say with 90% certainty what liberals would do. Liberals are more emotional. That's not a bad thing because they're passionate. So, they're passionate. So they're passionate about something. And they're passionate about doing more, helping more. Okay? So the people that get money and get paid off of the division started with the liberal minds. They 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 made them emotional, okay? And then they told them what to do. The conservatives were horrible, selfish people. So being a Democrat is good, which means that being a Republican must be bad. You guys are good because you want to help people. You want to give this, and you want to give this, and you want to give this, and you want to give this. You're good. Those conservatives are so nasty. They're so selfish. They're so this, they're so that. Now, being highly emotional, over rational, so the rational side says, don't bother me with that. They're fine. As long as they're not hurting anybody, let them do what they want. The emotional people want to be good. And so emotionally and lovingly, they trusted when they were being told conservatives bad. They trust that. Because the really, true, loving-hearted, liberal-minded people want everyone to be loved. They want that. That's not bad. It's not bad to want everyone to be loved and accepted. It's not bad. But people with agendas and ulterior motives came to that group, whispered things, and the people in the group took it on and believed. These people, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. They're doing this. They don't accept the far-right Christian fundamentalists. Yeah, the far right. Well, the far left, The majority of people in the old days were not on the far left or the far right. But if someone is emotional, very emotional, it's easy to get them to a lower vibration of fear, and then make them angry. So fear's 100 because they're emotional. They're going to take it in. They're emotional. They're what's happened? They get there. So that's why we see leftists losing their minds. That's why we see this teacher ripping his pin off of the student. That's why we see these kids beating a kid for a red hat. And you could say the media has turned these leftists, these emotional leftists, into lunatics. It's okay to punch a Nazi now, right? You could say that, and you wouldn't be that far off. But the people that can need to stay calm. The conservative minds that are more rational are not any less loving than the leftists who've been impassioned with, we've got to, They are just put in a fear vibration. I'm sure that if someone told that teacher, that male teacher, I'm sure that if somebody told him the first day he started teaching, you know what you're going to do in December of 2019? You're going to hold a girl's shoulder and rip a pin off of her shirt. I bet you that man, that brand new teacher would say, I would never do that. And I bet if you told the parents of the kids who beat up the kid with the MAGA hat, when their babies were born, you know what your baby's going to do? Your baby is going to be part of a gang beating on a kid for wearing a red hat. 13 years ago, somebody said to those parents, your baby, 13 years ago, right? So 2006, roughly. Back in 2006, roughly then. And they're holding their babies in their arms. So cute, this innocent little baby. And somebody comes to them and says, you know what that thing's going to do in 13 years? It's going to be part of a gang beating on a kid for wearing a red hat. Those parents would go, no way. We're a loving family. We're very loving. We're good people. We would never. No, there's no way that this baby, we're a very loving and calm, peaceful family. I almost guarantee it. But that's what's happening. And you're here to witness it. You're here to see it. You're here to be part of it. So for whatever reason your soul picked this time to incarnate as you. And somebody said to me, not to me, but somebody has, there have been different groups saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, and if you're not taking sides, you're part of the problem, and all this stuff. Okay? And that kept coming at me, and I'm like, I can't take a side. The fighting is ridiculous. And so now I'm seeing that I just have to create my own side. And then I take that side. And that side is going to be this. I choose to be one of the people who raises my vibration to 1,000. I'm creating a side now. I'm creating a side now, and this is the side that I'm taking, and I welcome anyone on board. That's why I created Renegade Yogi. Bless all, forgive all, respect the free will choices of all, and love all, including myself in all directions of time. The 5 agreements. Be impeccable with my word. Never make assumptions. Always do my best. That's 4. Never take anything personally. Okay, so that's where my block is, because that's the second. It's be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Never make assumptions. Always do my best. And be skeptical, but learn to listen. And Osho helps you with listen deeply. Listen deeply. All right? The new side I'm creating is high vibrational people. 600 piece. That's the new side. That's the side, and the other side is the fear vibration 100 level fear and anger 150. That is the opposite side of the side I'm creating. I want to encourage conservatives and Christians to choose the side of peace. But bless, forgive, respect free will choice, and love the people who are in fear. They're in a fear vibration. And it doesn't matter if it was the mainstream media that put them there, or if it was their friend group, or their family, or their programming. It doesn't matter. If you fight them, you are becoming them. And I want to encourage also any liberals that, liberally minded people that are tired of fighting or getting sick or just feeling like they're doing something wrong and they don't know what it is. I'm telling you now, if you hate Trump or Trump supporters, you are what you hate. You're the ones doing and creating hatred. You're the ones. I'm not saying Trump or Trump supporters are perfect, because no one is. And I want to encourage Trump and Trump supporters not to hate Hillary Clinton and not to hate anyone who would vote for her. I've said it in a bunch of videos. Everyone who read the emails, everybody who read the WikiLeaks emails, John Podesta's emails, the DNC emails, we are all on the same side. And I'm not politically minded. But everybody that I know and everyone that I've seen online or in real life that read those emails, that has an awareness of those emails, identity politics don't matter at all. Nothing matters. Skin color, gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, none of it matters. Every single person that read the same WikiLeaks that I have, we all agree. We all agree, like 100%. So just keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I love you all. And that's my side. I'm creating a side of peace. And we'll wait for the people who want to climb out of the nonsense of the anger, hatred, and fear. But we're not going in. We're not going in to save anybody. They've got to climb the hill, and they have to do the work themselves. Because it's not our job to save everybody. We're not going to be able to save everybody. It's not our job. We're moving towards the higher vibrations. And we welcome all who want to move towards the same higher vibration. That's it. Okay. Have an awesome day. Thank you.